Greetings all. Welcome to the second installment of my new 3-record series. I'm going to be doing these every Tuesday. I'll be dropping them around lunchtime. I think it's a good time, midday. I appreciate the feedback I got from the first video. I wasn't sure how it was going to be received, but I feel pretty good about where this might go. And I'm anxious to share and have many of you out there discover some of this music and embrace it for yourselves. So this week we have 3 records that I acquired since getting into vinyl in 2022. There's certainly albums that I knew prior to getting into vinyl. One in particular that I didn't have a lot of knowledge of. And since getting it on vinyl, I've been able to really absorb it and come to appreciate the songs. So first up, we have That Very Record. Katie Lied by Steely Dan. Now, I got Can't Buy a Thrill. I got Asia. I got, now the name's escaping me, Countdown to Ecstasy, yes, of course. I got Pretzel Logic, Gaucho, and the only one, and the Royal Scam. So the only Steely Dan 70s record I was missing was this one, and it was one that I really wasn't that familiar with, which I kind of regret because it's a very strong record. The performances on here and the arrangements, particularly the last track, I've come to really enjoy. Throwback The Little Ones, and Steely Dan being the lyricists that they are, very tongue-in-cheek, very they have their own language, which I'm sure those of you familiar with Steely Dan will know. Some great players on here, particularly for me, coming from a drumming background, primarily as Mr. Jeff Beccaro of session fame. I guess he's one of the biggest session drummers, but of course we know him from Toto. And Mike McDonald doing what he does best with those lush and layered background vocals. The second to last song, the penultimate, Any World That I'm Welcome To. Very triumphant chorus to that one. So all you out there who might know a few Steely Dan songs, not, Reelin' in the Years, Deacon Blues, Peg, of course Kid Charlemagne, some of the hits. This, you want to explore a little bit more, this is a great one to absorb, and one I've really come to appreciate. Next up, we got a record back that takes me back to my high school years, later, obviously part of high school. Whatever, Never, Amen by Ben Folds 5. A little background with this, with how this record came to be purchased by me. I was finally able to purchase it because they finally did a pressing of it. The previous one that had been done, I believe, was in the early 2000s or mid-aughts. You go on Discogs with this thing, it's one of the first records I wanted, because this is a big one for me in terms of, the nostalgia factor, and I always loved Ben's playing, his piano playing, and just the energy of that band, guitar, bass, drums, excuse me, what am I saying? Piano, bass, drums. Let's try that again, yeah, piano, bass, drums. Very unique trio sound that these guys get, especially the bass player, who has this great effect, this fuzz distortion effect on his bass that really gives you the impression that there's a guitar in the band, but there really isn't. One song on this I wanted to highlight, just having heard a story about something that happens on the track, is Stephen's Last Night in Town. I mean, basically what the song is discussing is a friend who's in town from out of town, and is kind of overstaying his welcome and maybe getting a little too familiar with things. And it's a really high energy song, almost has a very klezmer tinge to it with the clarinet and the horn section and everything. It's a very high energy song. But of note is at the very right before the last break, right when they go, "What?" and he's gonna go, "Last night in town," you hear a distinct telephone ring. They were apparently recording this record in a house that was converted into a studio, and somebody had lived there. So there was a phone, and somebody was calling, and they kept it on the track. And I went back the second I read about that, and I'm like, yeah, that's what that was. That's what I've always been hearing. So this one has one of his biggest songs, "Brick," which I mean, if you know Brick, you know what it's about. It's a song he doesn't play anymore. Pretty personal. So look this one up, guys. This is a great record. There isn't a single song that I skip on this one. And I loved it so much when it came out. I had it on CD. CD I unfortunately lost. Yeah, for those of you who remember having jewel cases and you're open, oh, I can't wait to listen to that record. What the heck? It's not in the jewel case, and be damned if I know what happened to it. But I'm glad this one came back in my hands and in this format that I can enjoy for years to come. Next up, lastly, we have "Hypnotic Eye," Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Before Tom left us, I got the chance to see him twice, thankfully, because I'd never seen him before. And I obviously loved his music and all the records he did with the Heartbreakers. And the tour was supporting this record. And I distinctly remember putting it on and hearing that first track. Just again, energy, and Tom's lyrics are second to none. He's just a master lyricist and songwriter, and there's just a rawness on this record that really comes out right from the jump, and the energy doesn't let up. Even the songs that are on the slower side, they just have this power to them. And obviously, since Tom left us, sadly, this record has been one that I've revisited several times. I think it's a pretty amazing thing that your last album, your last contribution, can be one that can be this strong and substantive, with just everything that made you a great artist throughout your life encapsulated in your final release. I'm sure, I know at the time he didn't expect it to be his last release, but if you're going to have a final album, this is a hell of a one to go out on. So that'll be that for this week. I'm liking these. I'm liking the little walks down memory lane for me, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Again, please feel free to share your comments. I love feedback, and I love all you stopping by. Have a great Tuesday.